Hello, my name is Ghost, and today, as the title says, I hope we go over some Boar Clan first thoughts. This video is going to be kind of like a two-part. The first half is going to be primarily directed towards the new clan, the Boar Clan, and the second half will be more directed towards the patch notes that came kind of along with it. Just kind of some small minor things that we'd go over. So, obviously, I guess the hog in the room, the Boar Clan. Played about 2-3 games that I got in today, and kind of the first two things that I thought of was, holy cow, this is very much so a lore-based clan. But also, that's all that this clan really is. It is very much a very heavy lore-focused and lore-centralized clan that really doesn't have a strong military punch, unless you really try and rush it. I tried to kind of go for like this half hybrid build through the lore, and there's probably going to be someone that can find a more efficient way to do it, and I really expect that there will eventually over time. But they're very much a lore central clan, and then they have some military, but they also have some food, but they really can't do both, and they definitely can't do all three. They're good, but they should stick with what they're strong with. I do have to say, the lore tech, the lore tree, the way that they play, the way they feel, it's very refreshing. When I was playing with them, it didn't feel like it was a complete, like, you know how like you play the goat and then you kind of play the stag and you're like, oh wow, kind of feels pretty similar. Then you play the stag and then you play the raven and you're like, oh my god, these are like mirrors. The way that the boar plays, it does feel like you do have these kind of like nod of your fedora towards the goats in terms of how the play feels. You do have a pretty solid economy, but you're typically using a lot of that economy to shave off more and more villagers to become either lore masters or menders, as I guess the correct term is, and or having shipbuilders so that you can have more lore and more getting that base fame and then going for the more lore. So it's a very pleasant clan. So yeah, very much a lore all in. So far what I've kind of seen as what we will see with them is you will have, let's say you're in a 3v3 kind of match, as is the standard. By the way, this is not a 1v1 clan. And I would probably say this isn't even a 2v2 clan. This is very much a, like, you have the goat, you probably have a wolf, and then you probably want to have the boar. I don't know if you'd want to have the bear. I think that this is actually an interesting situation of where you can go for bear if you want to have a very militaristic kind of teams comp, or you can have the boar if you're trying to go for like a lore all-in. In this case, let's pretend your composition, your team has a goat, wolf, and boar. Typically what you're going to have is you're going to have you as the boar player basically becoming this incredible turtle, getting up. I mean, when I think the one game that I did a free-for-all in, we had one guy at like 802, he had like plus 34 lore, and by 803 he was at like plus 72 or something. I mean, it was insane, but it was fantastic. It was a very interesting situation. Actually, let me get the player that was with us, his name was Teabag, or one of the guys. He was also a beta tester. So here's his thoughts. He says, I have a good feeling with the boar. I find the same feeling of my first test with the bear, so very good so far. The clan is heading for an attack or defense, and its way of acting and reacting is different from others. You'll see it. The tip for lore is overwhelming if you have the right map. The naval road seems like the right choice for crowns and the trade box. Military is classic, so no real shocker there, and the competence of the 200 fame is top, and we'll get into their specifics later in the video. It's true that playing without advanced carpentry and stone production is sobering, but I do think that putting the clan behind it is on the contrary, or as in, so it's not like the biggest end of the world. It will surely push others to play the clan differently with this new it'll play differently with this new setup. I will have more successful options and ideas when he plays more. So the clan itself has a lot of really good promise, and I do see a lot of, again, really good things. I don't have really much to say about it. I do think that there's a few things that I can pick out, but a lot of it's really nitpicking. So let's get to the big juicy bit and what you guys want to see, which is the delicious patch notes. So let me just jump. Hey, look at that. It worked out. All right, cool. So, the Clan of the Boar. A new clan joins the Battle of Northgard. Recluse and forgotten by the other clans and recently rediscovered, the Clan of the Boar is both mystical and untamed. The understanding of the world is unmatched. Their understanding knows no rival, as their boorish and primitive ways. Note, the boar illustration is a work in progress. Basically, when you click on the title, it's a bunch of rough sketches, but honestly, we got a whole new clan. I'm not going to be picky about it. So, starting specifics. The Mender's Hut, which is what you're seeing the the villager run towards. The Menders produce +2 lore when they are not healing. So essentially, think of it like medicine for like the goat, for example. When your healer is not healing, they are gathering. Well, for the boar, when they are not healing, they are producing lore, and it's actually quite nice. I typically, at least when I played, I typically would get the upgrade for the tools and just upgrade them in general. That way you get the extra lore, and it also kind of gets them off of healing whatever unit you need, because it is kind of a bit of a balance game between both wanting to need healers and wanting to rush lore for obvious reasons. Sleep under the stars. Each additional territory gives you +2 max population. So you don't need houses. So that means you don't need to worry about upkeep. And by the way, if that wasn't any better, no happiness penalties for non-upgraded houses. So essentially that means, you know, the later the game goes, you typically have the -1 happiness saying, we want better houses. Does not matter anymore, is not a problem. And I typically still, at least when a game starts, I will still build the Scout Lodge and the house. I'm actually kind of thinking maybe building the Scout Lodge and then just the Woodcutter's Lodge might actually be a viable solution, because then you get the wood that you need quicker in the game, especially if you didn't spawn with a force, which you may or may not have. But that way, once you scout a food tile, pop it instantly, and you've got the 7, you know, the 7 population that you have, and that kind of keeps you growing. And then once you have an extra space, or maybe you do get a forest or something, you just drop a house, and that way you have the extra wood production because you started your Woodcutter's Lodge early, and now you have the house for the extra 5 villagers. So going on to the fame specific bonuses, we have Ancestral Knowledge, which is the first of the 200, which gives you 1 free lore. This does not count towards the lore victory or the blessing unlock. So essentially, you get a free upgrade. You get a free lore option. So whether that be, and I wish I had the picture, and I'll have to hunt it down. But a lot of these, they also redid the entire lore tree for the Boar Clan. It's very beautiful. It's very pretty, and it's nice to see that it's not basically a copy paste of one of the other previous clans. I swear, it kind of drives me up the wall when the Bear Clan first came out. I was like, oh boy, we're going to see all these brand new and unique lore tree, and it was like, oh, it's basically just the Stag and Raven meshed together. But there's a lot of, and we'll get into lore trees and stuff. So, Greater Blessing, 500 fame points. Essentially, you take your 3 blessings at the bottom, Freya's, Jord's, and Baldir. It adrenaline charges them. So Freya's reduction for the 30 food consumption is now increased to 50 food consumption reduction. So and the blizzard penalty is hugely reduced. So instead of only consuming 30% less food during winter, you're now consuming 50% less, and there's a massive reduction during blizzards, making Freya an incredibly viable option. Baldir starts out with 3, and once you hit 500 gives you 5. And Jor's gives you, so it still gives you the 20 iron or 20 stone and 10 iron, but after that it also gives your war chief and upgraded towers +10 attack. So it's very, 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 very strong. I honestly I'm a little bit upset because I wish this was on all the clans. I feel like this is something that all the clans should have. It feels nice. It's good to see that they're giving the greater blessings making him greater, essentially. You know, once you hit that late game stride and you get all of these wonderful abilities, giving the other clans this ability, these strengths, you know. So the lore tree changes, and we'll get down to all of this stuff. I'll put you like right there because we need to hide the new features so that you guys don't see all of them just yet. Trading has now become bartering. So bartering gives you +3 crowns, allowing all trade routes. It's basically just trading, but it gives you +3, so it's nice. Allows you to trade as normal, but it's actually kind of cool because it has, and again, I'll need to find a picture. I wish I could edit all of this, but hey, all you guys have to do is wait a week, so you have to see it. It's basically just a hand holding some like apples and stuff, and it's really cool, but basic trading. Mining efficiency has become handiwork, so if you go up to use sharp axes, you have, instead of having mining efficiency, it is now a shovel, and it gives you +10 production for non-upgraded buildings. So this is where I think the Boar Clan comes into what I like to call the skill ceiling, because on the far left, on what I would say is the easiest clans to learn, which is the wolf and stag, you've got those two. Then in the middle, you have the bear and boar. And then on the hardest to learn, you have wolf and raven. I put the boar kind of ahead of the bear clan in terms of difficulty to learn, but still below wolf. And the reason for that is you need to know what you're doing. And in handiwork specifically, this is an excellent example of players deciding when they want to upgrade their buildings, when they want to transition out of having that +10 production, because at some point you need to upgrade your buildings. At some point, having 10 villagers on just a regular upgraded regular food silo is not as efficient as having 10 villagers on an upgraded food silo plus an upgraded farm. The numbers are just still stronger for the upgrades, which is good, but that allows players this kind of window of where is the best time to do that. And that's fantastic. I love it. I think it's a fantastic decision because this gives you a skill range, which is fantastic. It allows the higher players, the smarter players to be on the higher end, and the weaker players to not know when the right time or where that fine line is. So it's very good, and I'm very glad to see that they are making more, I want to say like more skill-based clans instead of just like, let's play goat and feast all day. You know, this is like, well, when is the best time to get tier 2? You know, when is the right time? So coinage has now become simple living, which gives you a -30% to building construction costs. Now this is a vicious upgrade in a good way for the boar specifically. So you get this right now. Take a gander, right? You are a lore-based clan. What is the one thing that you can build with stone that can really benefit having this upgrade? Okay. Carved stones. Congrats, you're a genius. -30% on the carved stone puts it from 15 to 11. But then you get Euro Edition, which cuts that number in half. And I don't know what... no, it can't be only 11, but when it cuts it in half, it gets it down to just 3 stone. And I know that number doesn't add up. I know, it's weird. I was playing the game. I will post the stream link time where I get the upgrade. It's insane. I mean, just suddenly there were carved stones all over my base, and that's one of the things where we'll also get into how the Boar Clan compares to the other clans, but simple living is one of the strongest things that the Boar Clan can have just because of general upgrades and buildings, because coinage or simple living and handiwork, they are like yin and yang. They need each other. You get the -30% for building construction costs and then +10% production for all non-upgraded buildings. I mean, it's just a good day to be a boar. So medicine becomes herbalism, which when active, menders give +5 production to in any mender hut territory. So essentially, as long as you have a mender's hut anywhere on a food tile, a lore tile, whatever, it gives you +5 production on any building. Pretty good, right? I should be going for that. I actually kind of like to go for recruitment, as weird as that sounds. Plus 5% does sound nice, but when you have like plus 10 happiness, you really want to get the recruitment because of Nature's Gift. For every 5 clan members, you get plus 1 gold. And this is where I think we are going to see, again, that support role for the Boar Clan come in. So I don't think we're going to see, I mean, I think that we're still, in terms of the meta, we're going to see Masked Warriors. I think what would be really cool to see is you're going to see Masked Shield Bearers from the Boar. And the reason for that is the Boar wants to keep their Shield Bearers alive, and Basic Micro could save your units, but you also have the extra tankiness to work with. And you want to keep your villagers alive when you're going into combat, if you're going into combat, if you're not, rushing lore. Having the Shield Bearers plus, like, we're still sticking with the 3 combos, so you have the Goat, Wolf, and you as the Boar. Having your Shield Bearers plus your Wolf players damage on their warriors plus their Berserker, you have a combination. It's not the bear, but you have Shield Bearers and you have your warriors. I mean, you still have that combination. It's very strong. It's not going to be the same as getting Protector of the Land, but get the 10 upgrade for the 10 iron upgrade for the Shield Bearers, and you pretty much have the same thing. It's pretty much the same thing. They just aren't as cheap. But you get plus 1 gold for every 5 villagers anyways. So, like I said, it's not the most overpowered combat military at all. I mean, it's very, I would say, minor in comparison to the wolf or the bear or the goat. But again, if you are playing this very defensive game where you want your opponents to attack into you, and you're not really there trying to kill their armor, you're more trying to just bleed them out so they have to go away, get Masked Shield Bearers plus your lore guys, and then you have your 2 allies support you. I mean, you're going to be in a really good spot. Resource Ultimate Knowledge. Altar of Kings is doubled, so instead of plus 2 on everything, you have plus 4, and that is very nice. Wealth Ultimate Knowledge becomes Osmosis, which means you have any forest, swamp, and fishes gives you plus 2 happiness. That means, so any forest tile gives you plus 2 happiness, any swamp plus 2 happiness, and any tile which has fish is, at least from what I've figured out, gives you plus 2 happiness. So if your deer tile has fish on it, I recommend actually getting Osmosis before you go into either your military or your sharp axes. And especially if you spawn with double forest and a fish tile, Osmosis every time. It's a very, very strong ability. So onto the clan. Let me switch to. Yeah, we'll go with this. This looks like a nice clean setup, anyways. The clan comparing to the other clans. So this clan is obviously very much a heavy all-in to the lore. That is their plan. That is their job. That's what they want to do. Currently, without any optimization on the very first day, I have seen players and myself get the lore victory by basically the winter of 802. Okay. Near and around there. So typically like maybe a little into 803, in the winter of 802, right before 802. I mean, very, very, very fast 802 lore rush. So this is going to be where Shiro needs to make a very important decision. Are they going to nerf the boar into submission when they get released, or are they going to buff the other clans? And we'll get to that in a minute. How they compare straight up. I still think that the GOAT is a more viable option if you are in a 2v2 situation, and I think if you're going for any of the other lore victory conditions, I think the boar is a viable third option. Oops, sorry, hit the spacebar. But if you're going for an aggressive all-in, I want to kill my opponents, you still are going to want to have the bear, goat, boar, or bear, goat, wolf combo. They are still the most aggressive. They are still the best combination. But if you're just playing around with the boys and, you're just cracking open some joggers, cracking open a cold one with the boys, The boar is definitely a viable option. I wouldn't say that in like, if there's $400 on the line and I don't know what to do and like my teammates are like, all right, we got a goat, we got a wolf. What do we need, Ghost? Do I want to go for the bear or do I want to go for the boar? If there's $400 on the line, I'm going bear. If it's just casual, if we're having fun, and I happen to roll, I select random and I get boar, cool. It's no big deal. I know what I can do. Like I said, it's not that like I have to make every decision has to be perfect, every micro has to be perfect. You do have some wiggle room with them, but it's not a whole lot. So, back to that, bringing this back in here. The Boar Clan has an incredible rush time with their lore currently. And while this is very much a matter of, again, we're going off the assumption the Boar Clan is rushing and his allies are protecting him, okay? And his allies are warding off the aggression. We are assuming that. This isn't like well, they're breaking through. We're assuming that they are holding the line and this boar is going to get the victory game by basically winter of 802, okay? Shiro Games has to come to the decision, are they either going to nerf the Boar Clan to a way that is balanced, or are they going to buff the other clans so that they have a better opportunity to try and get at the boar before 802 winter? And I think that they need to buff them. And the reason for that is currently, at least in terms of the early game, I can spend an easy 15 to 20 minutes doing absolutely nothing before the game starts. And the game currently, as a whole, is about, let's be honest here, it's about 25 to 30 minutes of sheer, wow, I got attacked by a wolf. Wow, I got attacked by a Draugr. That's it. There's maybe some skirmishing, but it usually comes into that, okay, it's 803, beginning of 803, we feasted, I've got my 16 warriors, let's go, champ. You send in that army, and it comes down to this one big, massive engagement. And it 9 out of 10 games, it usually is that. And when those armies die, another one gets bought up, and they go right back at it. It's like that flip of a switch, 803 comes in, it's wartime. Increasing the food production, the food gathering, the wood production, wood gathering, whatever it is, increasing those numbers as a whole, as in increasing it for boar, or increasing it for goat, bear, stag, so on and so forth, it just cuts down those times. So the rush time for the boar stays the same, the food stays the same, the food gathering stays the same, the lore rush stays the same, but instead of having this massive block of when the combat starts and where the rush, the victory condition for the boar is, here's 802 right here, okay? 803 is like right here, so we have that year in between where the wolf is typically engaging or is getting ready to rush or kill somebody, right? We have that in-between time. The wolf is typically trying to rush the boar at this point or get his allies to rush in as well. With his allies, who are typically more stronger at this point, having more food, it narrows that bridge just a little bit closer. And so right around 802, halfway through 802, you're going to have the goat, powered up, have tons of money, stag powered up, so on and so forth. That way, you keep the Boar Clan strong, but it also gives players that ability to try and stop them. It's still viable to go for the Boar Clan rush, but it also gives players that opportunity of like, okay, just got to scout you. Find you, I got my trade, my allies are on point, let's go in, let's engage, and then it comes down to that fight. It comes down to, can I defend my boar player from getting the lore game, or are my opponents going to beat us in and kill us? Because we're basically playing at a disadvantage because all of the Boar Clan's villagers are mostly in lore because they're trying to rush the lore. So, it does create a quicker game, but I think that's okay in most games where they run 45 to 50 minutes. I'm okay with a slightly shorter game. So, all right, so that's kind of the knee-jerk reaction. I think probably in about a week or two we'll probably have a more solid understanding of what I think the Boar Clan will actually be coming to be, if you will. So let's jump, not the right one. There we go. New patch review. So there are like what, just a few features. There's some bug fixes, but they're just kind of quick things I thought we'd go over because, you know, they're small, they're cute, and we can kind of just throw them on at the end because it helps a little bit. So, the new features and new bonuses. So, Veldfernir now has a different description text once he's healed. Actually, fun fact, rest in peace headphone users. I'd be very careful when your ally or someone heals Veldfernir, because when Big Bird is healed and when he leaves, he makes this very noticeable screech. And I just about, like, shat myself when I was like, oh my god, like, who died? I heard the screech, I was like, what was that noise? And I was like, oh, we healed Veldfernir, and then he flew off and did some bird stuff, and then he left. There is a nice new text box in his description. It's very cute. It's very nice. There is a new notification when he scouts a tile, when you heal him, and when he leaves. It's much more noticeable and much more clear, I guess, if that's what they're trying to go for. After Veldfernir crashes after being wounded, there's now a mark on the ground. May need some work on. Yeah, I did not see a crater, if you will, or a crash site. He was just kind of like laying on the ground, so I'm assuming that that's probably something that's going to be kind of added in, maybe in a hot fix later on the way. Veldfernir cannot spawn on magma flow tiles. Good. It's a lot easier to get to him. It's still nice to get to him as long as he's not like horribly out of the way. So, you know, nice. There's now a healing icon above the health bar of the clan member, and that is what this guy is doing right now. He's doing this little jiggle, but on top of the unit being healed, there'll be like a cute little plus icon next to that unit's health bar, which is nice. It's very nice, and selecting between the different units is now actually a thing. You can select each of the units, and you can actually watch them. Whenever a healer switches targets, their model will shift directly towards whatever that unit is. So let's say my war chief over here and my warrior over here. If my war chief is like at that HP and my warrior has like 3, I can select the warrior, and you'll see them go whoosh, and like just lock on to that unit. So it's really cool. There is new music. It's good. It's very catchy. I love it. But you might want to make sure that it cycles through, because I think I heard it like 3 times in a row and I was just about ready to rip my ears out. Many new FX sounds: victory and loss of game, ally trading with you, feasting, etc. Victory and losses, yes. Ally trading with you, don't have any allies or friends to play with, so got you. You got me, Shiro. I have no friends. And feasting. I did feast a few times, but I also, again, did not hear any notifications or any new sounds, so maybe I just needed to feast more often, or maybe I just needed to spam goat a couple times just to hear it, but I know the victory win noise and loss win noise are definitely a thing. They're actually quite nice. I like them. It's a new change. Bug fixes. So, explored ruins now remain open after a reload of the save. Long story short, you can read it. I never actually experienced that bug. The fishermen now behave normally. So, for any of you that are wondering what this means, the fishermen used to just spear into the ground. So they would run to the fishing hut, become fishermen, and then start spearing into the ground wherever you drop the fishing tile. So let's say the fishing tile was here, and you dropped the fisherman hut here. They would start stabbing the ground over here, and they would never actually walk over to the pond to fish. So it's very, very good stuff. There are now fish tiles in every lake. So essentially what this means, all over Northgard, as long as there is a lake tile, as in if it's connected between 2 tiles, this is very interesting to know, because I was really excited for this until I got into the game. On any lake, any tile that there is 2 tiles and there's a lake in the middle, there will always be at least 1 fish tile on either lake. It won't be on both, which I'm kind of upset about, but it will be on at least one side of that lake. Or if you have a pond, of course, it will always have fish. But if you have a lake, it will have fish. So it's good. It's good to have. Military units were getting an extra hit after the end of a battle. They won't anymore. Apparently, warriors were using quick scopes in the Viking era, and they decided to patch that out because quick scoping Vikings was not a thing. Shocker, right? All right, so that's pretty much everything for the patch notes of November 2017. I I really like it. I really do like, oh, sorry. There we go. I really do like a lot of the things that have come out. I'm still very concerned though. I think that the clans, there are some reworks that the clans need to go through, but I still think that we really need dedicated servers. And I have been hinted at that those are on the way. So that's, for anyone that's wondering, when are we going to get dedicated servers? They are definitely on the way. They are in the pipeworks. They are on route. They are coming, but they will be coming soon. You still need spectators modes, because if you want to have a community that's interested in the game, first things first, dedicated servers so you have a ranked system, and then casting or spectator spots for either player-on-player training, casting, tournaments, spectating, whatever you want to call it. Just being able to watch other players play is, I think, one of the biggest things that really brings a community together, especially for a video game, because then you can engage players in a game that they're not playing, or in a match that they're just watching and spectating and enjoying. But that is for a whole nother video for another time. So thank you to everyone that was here for this video. I hope you guys have a good day, good afternoon, good night, and I hope you guys really do enjoy the Boar Clan. I'm very excited to see how they do, I guess, in mass, and how they interact with you guys. Of course, tell me what you guys think about the new clan, and what do you guys think they should do. Do you think that they need to focus on getting, the Snake Clan finally released? Or do you think that they need to focus on dedicated servers, balancing, blah, blah, blah? What do you guys think? Let's hear, because you guys are also as much of the part of the community as I am. So, again, thank you to everyone that was here for this video, and I will see you guys later. Bye-bye.